I don't know if you've seen this concerning a so-called missile that hit inside of Poland. And the Pentagon is having they gave a special press briefing, which I think on, what's today? I don't know, Tuesday? Is that normal? I don't think so. And NATO held, let's see what NATO did. NATO envoys are holding an emergency meeting Wednesday on the Poland incident. Did you all hear about that? Can you hear me? I want to see what he had to say. It's throttling. That video over there is throttling. I don't know if they're going to let us watch it. Oh, wow, that's pretty wild. I don't know if you all have heard it, but we're going to look at it, if that's all right. I'd like to do a video screen capture. That's what I'm going to do. A video screen capture. Capture, not catcher. Capture. And window capture. So we can see what is being held. Let me see this. Let me expand it. I want to make sure you all can hear it. I want to make sure I can hear it, you all, because it sounds like something's getting ready to happen. It does, and it's can you see me? I think you can see me. No, you can't see me. I'll fix it, you all. Let me fix myself. Boom, I'm here. I'm here. I want to go over to that spot. I want to do this. I want to push the play button if I can.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And
all right, a few items passed along at the top, and then I'll be happy to take your questions. First, let me go ahead and highlight up front that we are aware of the press reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports. And are looking into this further. And so when we do have an update to provide, we'll be sure to do so. Separately, 1 year ago this month, families on Oahu faced a crisis when fuel spills at the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility resulted in contamination of the Navy's drinking water system. The Department of Defense recognizes that the 2021 incidents at Red Hill created a trust deficit between the DoD and the people of Hawaii, and that it's incumbent upon the department to earn back that trust. On March 7, 2022, Secretary Austin, after close consultation with senior civilian and military leaders, directed the defueling and permanent closure of the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility. Since then, the department has stood up a joint task force to focus on the safe and expeditious defueling.
Is that too loud, you all? So they're talking about Oahu and the fuel spillage at Red Hill, but he said he wasn't going to talk too much about the Poland, but he will when that question and answers start coming. You all, I wonder if something really big time is getting ready to happen behind the scenes. Just listen to the rest of it if you don't mind.
Of Red Hill. The JTF Red Hill recently completed a critical preliminary step in the defueling process from October 25 to November 3rd and removed over 1 million gallons of fuel from the facility's fuel pipelines. The operation, known as unpacking, concluded without any issues involving the handling, transport, or storage of the fuel. The next phase includes performing all necessary repairs, modifications, and enhancements to the Red Hill infrastructure to reduce risk during the defueling of the Red Hill storage tanks. JTF Red Hill is currently on track to complete defueling by June of 2024.
NATO did it? Somebody did it. Let's see if we can fast forward, even though he is talking about Oahu.
Cambodia. In Nova Scotia, he will deliver keynote remarks at the 2022 Halifax territory to include, we have no information at this time to corroborate.
Accurate? Are you looking into
Secretary of Defense representation at the ADMM Plus? And with that, I'll be happy to take your questions.
Okay, we're going to listen to him take the questions, you all, to see what's going on. I think I made myself a little bit too big, so I want to hear what questions are going to be asked by these people. Let's hear it.
We'll start with Associated Press. Lita Baldor.
Pat, thank you very much. And realize this is going to be irritating, but I know you said you don't have any information on the Russian strikes. Is there any suggestion or sense that the U.S. believes this is not accurate? Are you looking into it? Can you give us just some sense of whether or not these reports are deemed believable, and what, if any, calls may be happening right now?
Yeah, thanks very much, Lita. So as I mentioned, right now, we are aware of the press reporting on this. We have no information at this time to corroborate those reports, but again, are taking them seriously and looking into them. And so I will make sure that we provide you with any updates as soon as we have them.
So they want to know what's happening.
Did you have a follow-up, Lita?
Just one quick sort of unrelated follow-up to that. Do you have any estimate on the number of Russian troops that are currently in Ukraine? Is it 100,000, fewer than 100,000? Can you give us any sense of that? That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lita. I don't have any numbers to provide from the podium here. Clearly, tens of thousands of Russian forces still on Ukrainian territory, to include Russian forces that have recently been mobilized. We've seen an increase of those forces being sent to the front lines as replacements recently, but no overall number that I'm able to provide. Thank you. All right, Idris.
Just on the calls, so is there any call with his Polish counterpart planned at this time?
I have nothing to read out at this point.
I think President Biden has said a few times that the U.S. will defend every inch of NATO territory. If these reports are true, what does that look like for the administration?
Yeah, thanks, Idris. So, as I mentioned, we're looking into these reports, don't have any information to corroborate them at this time. So I don't want to speculate or get into hypotheticals. When it comes to our security commitments and Article 5, we've been crystal clear that we will defend every inch of NATO territory.
He looks really stressed out, you all. He does. I can see it. I can see it on his face. Can you see it on his face? He looks really stressed out. And parts of his face is a little bit red. He doesn't look like he's happy reporting what he's reporting. Yeah, he does. He looks really stressed out. We've looked at him before during different situations, and he's never looked like this. He hasn't. He's looked like more, just routine briefing, but this right here, he's got a seriousness in his face, and his brows are like, like that. So let's look at this.
Thank you. Sir.
Hi, Travis Tritton, military.com. I had a Red Hill question. You said 1 million gallons of fuel had been removed from the pipes, and just so I understand it, so is this like the residual fuel that was like out in the pipes, and
That's
then
exactly
that leaves,
right.
It leaves the fuel that's actually in the tanks to be removed?
That's exactly right. So the process is known as unpacking, and it's to do exactly that. Before they can remove the fuel from the tanks themselves, taking out that residual fuel from those lines to ensure that there is no...
When we lived in Hawaii, there was a talk when we were there about the fuel leaking into the water supply. And you could taste it in the water. If you took the tap water, you could taste that, like fuel that came from, like, I think the airplanes and stuff. That whatever type of fuel, that was on Hickam Air Force Base too.
Environmental damage or hazards or leaks as they conduct that process.
Okay. And do you have an amount of the total fuel that's left in the tanks themselves?
I don't have that in front of me. JTF Red Hill may be able to provide that information for you. Thank you. Okay, ma'am.
Hi, Brandy Vincent from Defense Scoop. On his trip to the Middle East this week, Undersecretary for Defense Policy, Dr. Colin Kahl, is stopping in Bahrain and visiting Task Force 59, which really specializes in maturing the Pentagon's unmanned and uncrewed systems. Can you provide some specifics for us on what he's seeing, the technology, exercises, or operations that might be happening there?
Yeah, thanks very much for the question. So as you mentioned, the Undersecretary is in the Middle East on a trip right now. We will aim to provide a readout of that trip, and certainly can get back with you in terms of some of the things that he was able to accomplish during that time. I don't have anything to provide specifically for you right now, but we can get back to you on that.
Thanks. And since he is the Undersecretary of Policy, can you tell us a little bit about what he is doing to inform policies while he's there as well? Why there and why him?
Sure. Well, it's very common for the Undersecretary and a lot of our defense leaders to travel and to meet with various DoD and international leaders to help better inform the decision-making and the policies of the department. And so this is a long planned for trip, and it provides him with an opportunity to gain insight into the kinds of key defense decisions that we're making here before we make them. So thank you.
So they go to the Middle East and stuff, and they make some decisions. Did you all? I want to take you to the part of this video right here, because it looked like when he moved, there were like ripples all around his upper part of his body. There was like ripples, like something. Let's see if we can see that again. When he was talking. I don't know at that moment in time when it happened.
And so this is a long planned for trip, and it provides him with an opportunity to gain insight into the kinds of key defense decisions that we're making here before we make them. So thank you.
Can I follow that, sir?
Absolutely, Tom.
Thank you. Is he going to attend the Bahrain gathering that Secretary Austin went to last year?
The Manama Dialogue?
Yes, sir.
I will confirm that. I believe that's the case, but let us come back to you on that.
And on the task force that Brandy mentioned, is that the same as the unmanned drones, that surface drones that the U.S. has employed in?
Oh, do you see that like ripple on their hands and stuff? I don't know if that's normal or what. When you can see it, if you slow this down. When he moves, you can see like the whatever. That's what I saw. It could be graphics.
The USVs.
Yeah.
We'll double check.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Warren.
When it comes to Poland, what other information are you looking for to corroborate whether or not this was a missile or missiles that landed in Poland? And if in fact it is, as it appears to be, does that necessitate a military response?
Again, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals or speculate. As I mentioned, we have no information right now to corroborate that there has been a missile strike. Again, we're looking into it. As you know, we have a wide variety of means at our disposal to verify information. And so when we have something to provide, we will.
Military response. I wouldn't be so quick to have a military response. I would want to make really sure, and he doesn't look happy. He really doesn't look happy about this whole situation.
Thank you. Qasim.
Just a follow-up.
And then I'm going to go to the phones here.
Yeah, General, just as a policy, do you consider these types of, like, as we see in Poland case, these types of landings as a miscalculation or something that triggered the Article 5? I'm not asking about
right, and again, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I'm not going to speculate about potential ifs and thens, right? I'm going to deal with facts, and so let's get the facts, and then we'll go from there.
Well, when you're in a position like him, you got to be very, very serious, and you can't take even the mere thought of war lightly. No, it's a very, very serious situation. Even with people speculating, nobody really wants to go into war. They don't, if they really thought about the consequences of it.
But everybody is reporting based in reference to the U.S. intelligence. So U.S. intelligence has already disseminated the information that actually those missiles.
Is that a statement of fact, or are you asking a question?
No, I'm asking. I'm saying that isn't it interesting that the U.S. intelligence has and the U.S. military doesn't have?
Well,
did you hear that? The U.S. intelligence has already released the information, and he said, isn't that something that the U.S. intelligence has that kind of information and the military doesn't? See, that's a really good question. He's asking about that. Y'all listen to what he said really fast, because this was really interesting what this young man said. Watch you listen to him.
A miscalculation or something that triggered the Article 5?
I'm
not asking about
right, and again, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I'm not going to speculate about potential ifs and thens, right? I'm going to deal with facts, and so let's get the facts, and then we'll go from there.
Everybody is reporting based in reference to the U.S. intelligence. So U.S. intelligence has already disseminated the information that actually those missiles.
Is that a statement of fact, or are you asking a question?
No, I'm asking. I'm saying that isn't it interesting that the U.S. intelligence has and the U.S. military doesn't have?
Well, and I'm telling you as the Pentagon press secretary that I have no information to corroborate that and that we're looking into it. So we'll just leave it there.
Wow, did you hear him? He literally rebutted. Is that a fact? And he said, and I'm telling you as the Pentagon press secretary. Wow. You all, there's something not right. There's seems like there's two heads of power, is what it seems like. Two heads of power. The intelligence community who disseminated the information already and didn't share that with the military or something. Let's hear it one more time. He's serious. He really is serious, this gentleman.
U.S. intelligence has already disseminated the information that actually those missiles.
Is that a statement of fact, or are you asking a question?
No, I'm asking. I'm saying that isn't it interesting that the U.S. intelligence has and the U.S. military doesn't have?
Well, and I'm telling you as the Pentagon press secretary that I have no information to corroborate that and that we're looking into it. So we'll just leave it there.
Leave it
until
there.
we can get more information. Let me go out to the phones. Carla Babb, VOA.
Wow.
Hey, Pat, thanks for doing this. Apologies on also asking about.
And then that guy left. He left. Did you see him leave after he asked that question? He got up and he left. Oh my gosh. Let's look at that. This guy got up and left when he spoke about the U.S. intelligence. Look at this all around his face. No. Can you see this all around his face? You see his face? Why is that all around his face? What is going on? Or is this deep fake? Yes. I don't understand that. Can you all see it? No. Oh my gosh. You all, let me do this. Look what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. What is this? Look at the edges around the ears. How come that is? Michelle, honey, your mama is serious, Michelle, honey. Your mama is serious. Have you seen it somewhere else? You think it's just pixelation? Let's hope. Let's hope, you all. Now, I get excited. I really do get kind of excited. Let's go back and listen to him. Yeah, he said, isn't it interesting that the U.S. intelligence already disseminated the information that Russia's missiles struck in Poland? And then that press secretary said, well, I am the Pentagon press secretary. So he gets up and leaves. This guy does. Let's listen to it. I'll quit talking.
U.S. intelligence has and the U.S. military doesn't have.
Well, and I'm telling you as the Pentagon press secretary that I have no information to corroborate that and that we're looking into it. So we'll just leave it there until we can get more information. Let me go out to the phones. Carla Babb, VOA.
Hey, Pat,
there he goes.
Thanks for doing this. Apologies on also asking about the Russian missiles in Poland. But in lieu of these reports, how concerned are you about the force protection of U.S. troops in Poland? Would the U.S. need to adjust its force posture there should these reports be confirmed?
Yeah, thanks, Carla. So again, to answer your first question, when it comes to force protection, we always take the safety and security of our troops, no matter where they're serving, very seriously. And so we're very confident in any force protection measures that we take, whether it be Poland or elsewhere. But again, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here. We're going to get the facts, and when we have more to provide, we will.
So that's good that they're going to get the facts. I would not want them to jump into something without it, and that would not be very pretty at all, you all. You could have a massive domino effect.
Thank you. Right. Let me go to Marcin, TV Poland.
Someone's in Poland. He's asking a question from Poland when they come in.
Okay. Nothing heard. Let me go
Nothing.
to Caitlin Dornbos.
Hey there. Hey, this is happening. The reports of this Polish attack is happening right before the Ukraine Defense Contact Briefing, a group meeting. I'm wondering if there's any plans to talk about this at that meeting as well.
Yeah, thanks, Caitlin. So the contact group meeting will focus on a couple of things. One, our Ukrainian partners will provide an update in terms of a battlefield assessment, what they're seeing on the battlefield.
Yes.
And then the
They've asked for
conversation
NATO.
will pivot to a robust discussion on Ukraine's security needs. And so following the conclusion of tomorrow's contact group, we'll certainly have much more information to provide in terms of the outcomes of that. But it should be a good discussion and, again, an opportunity to connect with our Ukrainian partners to see how we can best support them in their ongoing fight against Russian aggression. Thank you.
Thanks. Just to follow up on that, so when the last contact group meeting happened, the kind of priority was air defense. Is that still the case now? What's sort of the main thing the U.S. is looking to achieve out of this meeting, if there are any more details you can provide on that?
Sure. Well, I'd say up front that in a lot of ways, Ukraine will drive the prioritization in terms of what's most important to them. They're the ones that are on the battlefield, and they're the ones that continue to press the attack in terms of their counteroffensive. And so certainly, as evidenced today by Russia's airstrikes, missile strikes against civilian targets in places like Kyiv, air defense continues to remain a priority, and we'll continue to work with Ukraine on how we can best support them from an air defense standpoint. But we're also going into winter, so we'll be discussing other aspects in terms of what kind of support can we provide in terms of their ground combat capabilities, their cold weather capabilities, and also addressing what we can do to support them from an energy infrastructure standpoint. Okay, ma'am.
Yes, is North Korea still transporting artillery to Russia? And if so, have they started transporting other things than just artillery? Also, is it only through North Africa, Middle East, any other areas?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So I don't have any specific updates to provide other than, again, we do assess that Russia is seeking to obtain ammunition from North Korea, and that North Korea is looking to covertly provide that, again, as you highlight, through North Africa and the Middle East. But at this time, that's about as much information as I'm going to be able to provide.
He's tight-lipped about North Korea and missiles going to Russia. Look at that. He really is tight-lipped. If you look at his lips, he's really serious, you all. Real serious. He's remaining tight-lipped and don't want to let too much out.
And a follow-up, would any of our allies be willing to stop this transportation?
It's a great question, but I don't want to speak for our allies. Again, it's something that we'll continue to look at very closely. And again, it's just indicative of the fact that Russia finds itself having to deal with countries like Iran and North Korea in terms of replenishing its own stocks. Contrast that to what you see with the United States, the international community, and Ukraine in terms of the robust defense industrial base that we have at our disposal to support Ukraine in its fight. Thank you. Laura.
Thank you. Can you talk about the missile strikes on Kiev today? Was Ukraine able to intercept any of those missiles?
So this is something that we're continuing to monitor. It's still very early. We, as you highlight, we know that there have been a number of missile attacks. We assess right now that those were launched from airborne platforms, so Russian aircraft. But at this point in time, we just don't have any details to provide. So we'll continue to monitor.
Just to follow up, does the fact that the Russians are using their Air Force now, are they using their Air Force now more than they were before? Is that something that is a concern to the department?
So I think for the duration of this campaign, Russia has used a mix of capabilities when it comes to its strikes to include surface-to-surface missile systems, airborne platforms, as well as sea-launched missiles. So that in and of itself is not unusual. But in the situation that we're seeing right now, again, we're seeing them employ both ground-based and air-based.
He looks really tired.
Based asset.
Look at his eyes. He is exhausted. And he has to get up in front of the people.
For these strikes today. But again, still early. We're continuing to follow it. Thank you.
But, sorry, just to follow up, but the department has said that neither side has air superiority over Ukraine. So the fact that they're dropping bombs from airplanes now, does that indicate that that picture may be changing?
So the airspace over Ukraine continues to be contested. Again, without going into a lot of detail, I would say that we assess that these strikes are probably being conducted outside of Ukrainian territory. So in other words, standoff types of strikes. Thanks. All right, let me go to the phone here real quick and I'll come back in the room. Karun, Washington Post.
Hi. So I know that you don't want to talk in hypotheticals, but the possibility of there having been either an errant or an intentional strike on NATO territory has been in the back of people's minds for a long time. Can you walk us through at least what steps the Pentagon goes through to try to verify whether or not, this is to try to verify the specifics of what's happening? Like, what is going on now as you try to get more clarity on whether you can or cannot corroborate that these strikes landed in Poland? And also, is this going to change potentially the ask of what the United States makes at the contact group tomorrow at that meeting? Do you anticipate that this changes either the pressure on countries to pony up more military assistance or the rate at which that military assistance might need to come together?
Thanks, Karun. So as far as the contact group goes, I don't want to get ahead of the discussion or speculate, especially since we have no information at this point in time to corroborate the press reports regarding allegations of a Russian missile strike on Polish territory. In regards to your first question, anytime there's a situation, again, we have a variety of methods at our disposal in terms of verifying information, to include contacting allies and partners to gather information. And so, again, we're looking into these reports, and when we have more to provide, we'll be sure to do so. Thank you.
Clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
That was it, you all. I'm not going to play the rest. There's 18 minutes left of the rest. He's remaining tight-lipped about what's happening, and they're going to have a meeting. Can you hear me? Am I echoing? They're going to have a meeting. Right here you can see NATO's envoys to hold emergency meeting Wednesday on Poland incident is what this is. NATO chief Stoltenberg will hold urgent talks Wednesdays with alliance and ambassadors over the deadly blast in Poland. The Secretary General will chair an emergency meeting of NATO ambassadors is what they'll do. An emergency meeting with NATO ambassadors. So that's going to happen right there. And then you can see right here, Pentagon report over 100 missiles fired in the heaviest airstrikes of the war. 100 missiles. Is that true? Pentagon is investigating reports that missiles. Let me see what this thing's doing where I'm at, you all. Let me put this to me. I want to get the window capture off of that general who was on there. If I can get it back to me. I'm going to get the window capture gone. Okay. So this is where we're at right here. Did a missile hit Poland? That's where we're at. Did a missile hit Poland? And now we're over here on the screen. Local reports said the weapons hit a grain store in Lublin, where the border with the Ukraine, and what could cause a serious escalation of the war. Asked at a Pentagon press briefing, Article 5, the collective defense clause of the NATO treaty, Brigadier General Patrick Ryder said, I think it is incumbent on all of us to get the facts before we start speculating or jumping to conclusions. Latvia's defense minister said condolences to our Polish brother in arms. We're standing with you. Russia denied reports that Polish media officials were deliberately trying to escalate and they said they were trying to escalate the tensions. It came as Moscow fired some 100 missiles on Ukraine, causing widespread power outages across the country, leaving the capital of Kyiv without electricity. So Poland today. So that's what it is. That's what it's what they're going to do. They're going to have a meeting tomorrow, NATO, an emergency meeting, and there's steps that they take before jumping to conclusions and then before committing troops in that area. Yeah, they don't want to jump to conclusions, they said. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, we listened to a bit of it. You can find it. You can type in Pentagon press briefing, and you can go to the videos and you can see what was said, because this is what it's about. Did they say, they said a missile hit that granary, and it did hit the granary, but they're trying to determine where it came from. Did other countries, were they just flying up there and dropping missiles too? See, they don't know. All they know is Russia was up there dropping missiles on Ukraine, and somehow a missile got inherently caught in the wrong direction and it hit some other place. Yeah, that's what happened, y'all. But really, it's nobody wants to go to war. It's really serious. And it causes a lot of destruction, as you can see. It does. So I am going to go. Let me put myself on here, right here next to the general. We'll make my head almost as big as. There we go. I just need to put my body up there, and I can be standing as tall as he. So yeah, this is really interesting to see this in the news, and it's kind of sad. You know, nobody likes war. But all of a sudden it came out of the blue. Really? It really sounds like it did. Came right out of the blue. And so we're going to have to keep our eyes and ears open to see what happens next. We really do. So I am going to go. And oh my gosh. With that being said, thank you for listening and watching. I've done several videos on this, but I haven't done any in a long time. I haven't. But that's all right, you all. Something's up. Something's up. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening if I don't see you on here again. Love you.